Hey, welcome to my GodFit channel. This is just basic Christianity 101. Simple topics with simple answers. Today's topic, we're going to talk about aliens, the first rebellion. But before we dig deeper, listen to the video that I made over realms and dimensions. Now, according to 2 Corinthians 12:2, there are 3 levels of heaven. The third heaven that the word speaks about is considered the throne of God or the throne of Jesus. And this throne is in the spiritual world. Now, remember, Jesus created both the spiritual and physical worlds for himself. He's a father, and he actually wants to fellowship with his kids. So he created the spiritual world first and filled that world with angels, his firstborn. Then sometime later, Jesus created the physical world and filled it with us, humans, his secondborn. The spiritual world has spiritual matter just like ours. It has creatures, beasts, animals, and plant life. It also has features like the ground or dirt, building, material like metals, gold, silver, and precious stones. Our physical world mimics the spiritual world. That's why Jesus says in Matthew 6, on earth as it is in heaven. Anyway, the third heaven is also called the mountain of God, aka the mountain of Zion. And at the top of this mountain is the throne of Jesus. This mountain is also a huge garden. That is why it is also called the Garden of God. In this garden are where the angels live. That's where they fellowship, and that's where they work, according to Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah 14. The Bible calls their work the multitude of thy merchandise and the mount of congregation, meaning in the spiritual world, on this mountain, they build, they buy, they sell, and they fellowship with each other. They are highly, highly intelligent beings. So under this mountain, the third heaven, lies a huge firmament. This sky is considered the second heaven, meaning the second heaven in this spiritual world actually overlaps with our universe, our physical second heaven. In our physical world, as you know, we have galaxies, stars, and planets, and etc. In the spiritual world, in their second heaven, they also have stars, but they are not like our stars. Read Isaiah 14. Meaning the angels have to look down to see stars. We have to look up to see stars. Anyway, before Jesus was born, this second heaven is where most of the spiritual battles occurred because it's in between the earth and the third heaven. This was the war zone back then. Now, today, the war zone is actually here on earth. Now, at the very bottom of the second heaven lies a huge sea of water. This water was our earth. Yes, our earth started out as a sea of water in Genesis 1:2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. In verses 6 through 7, God separated these waters and created our atmosphere, water on top of water. When Jesus created our atmosphere, he called it heaven. And we consider this the first level heaven. Now, this is numbered from our perspective, meaning because the Bible was written for us, it's from a human's perspective. And so our atmosphere is the first heaven. Space is considered the second heaven, which also corresponds with the spiritual second heaven. And the third heaven is the mountain of God. And of course, on top of the mountain God is the throne of God. This third heaven is what we call the real heaven or paradise. Now we know that sometime before Jesus formed the earth, we know that the angels actually inhabited this mountain of God in the spiritual world. This time period is known as the age of the angels. Now, these angels were created as free will beings, meaning God gave them choice just like us, choice to obey or not to. Now, the Bible says Lucifer was created perfect and extremely beautiful. He had a very high ranking among the angels. He was actually an anointed cherub. He was also called the son of the morning. And because of his authority and his beauty, pride set in, and he became extremely vain and rebellious. His heart became darkened with iniquity, and over time he led a rebellion against Jesus. And so a third of the armies went astray. Lucifer was the first angel to sin. Now, since God knows everything and nothing surprises God, he called all these rebellious angels to the throne, and he cast them out of the third heaven. And he banished them to the dark, void waters of the earth, kind of like a prison. This was before, again, Jesus formed our earth and our atmosphere. This was considered the first rebellion. This banishment gave them very limited access to God's throne and to the mountain of God. So God cursed Lucifer and gave him the name of Satan or the devil. Well, he also cursed the fallen angels as well and called them Satans and devils as well. That's why today we call them devils. Jesus disowned them. He took their house, their inheritance, their identity, their honor, and he replaced them with us. And when he created earth, he gave us humans authority over them. It's kind of like a triple slap in the face. Therefore, they hate God with an extreme hatred. They hate everything he made, and they especially hate us. They are the first inventors of evil. These fallen angels mentioned in Revelation chapter 12, these are the aliens today, the aliens that the world is pushing. See my next video over aliens, are they real? Read these chapters, Genesis 1 through 3, chapter 6, Matthew chapter 6, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, Ezekiel 28, Isaiah 14, Ephesians 6, Revelations 12. Y'all have a great day. Be safe and stay away from bad people, because bad company corrupts good character. And always remember, to God be all the glory. Jesus really is God. Jesus really is Lord. Peace.